Well, here it is, another Tuesday. Just had a great lunch. It's a beautiful day out there today. Let's see, I think it's close to 70. Well, hey, Mr. Motorbomb. Well, wow, I just got a message from McDonald's. uh, that's cool. We've had no, I was going to see well, look here, we're almost 70, 69 degrees. That's about as close to 70 you're going to get. Yeah, I think it's going to top out in the low 70s this afternoon by 4 o'clock. Oh, absolutely. Hey, I loved your ride this morning. I watched that. The part I loved, I was watching you on the big screen, and oh man, when you went through that tunnel. In fact, Angelique and I, we went through a tunnel yesterday. It wasn't in the video, but when I went through the tunnel, I gave it a little bit of a rump on the throttle. This is the time of the year we really like where the blue sky and spring, fall, we get their bluest sky. Yeah, I know it makes it sound good. At one time, Motorbomb, I had a 427 powered Chevrolet from the factory, 427 4-speed Muncie close ratio gearbox, and in where we live there in Seattle, in the Seattle area, you had to drive under SeaTac Airport through a tunnel, and there was many lanes, taking it off and landing, and I would, when I'd go through that tunnel, I would kick it in the lower gear, and let it rump up there and make it sound the pipes off. I had big headers on it, and big exhaust on it, so I'd make it bellow as I'd go through the tunnel. Just what a boy would do. I haven't outgrown that yet. And thank you very much for watching our little ride in the sun. At the end, of course, we went to that Mexican restaurant, and we had really nice conversation with the people. I've been going over there for, I guess, 15 years, and well, hey, 2-4. Yeah, we had a really good lunch over there, and Angelique wanted to try something different. She had grilled vegetables and shrimp and something else. Me, I stuck with the traditional enchiladas, rice and beans. I just got through watching Sick Week, and down in Florida. In fact, they finished up at Gainesville. That's where they then drove back up to Georgia for the last day, but they was in Gainesville. And they have a place there where they do the burning the rubber, pulling their trailers, and they'd light up them anywhere from 500 to 3,000 horsepower engines on the street. And the cops were sitting there, and they, it's a tradition they do every year. But if you act in it, you do a little something out of line, a little crazy, they're going to give you a ticket. And 2 or 3 of them got tickets and couldn't understand how they got the ticket. Well, my signal for the internet has been kind of hit and miss. But today, it started off a little shaky, but it started improving. I thought, well, man, as long as it's running, let me see what it is right now. I did this test the other day, and it seemed to work. I could see it. I'll go to the Birmingham connection here. And let's see what it's doing now that I've got the camera. Oh, 24 pings. It's going to be pitiful. Well, I'm seeing, well, the download is 330. Let's see, 338, 340. All right, download is 340, and upload is 24. It's holding pretty steady at 25. So the signal, as you can see, is the reason I decided to go live. Yeah, I'm holding at 20. So my download is 340 megabytes per second, and upload is 25 megabytes. So hell, she's doing good. As you can see, I can see myself, so I got to assume that it must be working. Well, we had a little bit of in the radio wave world. Every year, we get what they call sporadic E. Now, sporadic E is when our signals go, our VHF and UHF signals, which we're operating here in a microwave. We're at microwave at 5 gigahertz, but in the VHF, UHF, and microwave world, our signals can go anywhere. And then you begin to get what's called local fade-in. And Angelique and I was riding a bike, and when we were on the road in a place normally where my FM radio was running wide open, really great big sound, it was just barely coming in. It was fading in and out because of the sporadic E. The atmosphere, ionosphere, stratosphere. What makes the radio waves go and come. Well, 2-4, I've seen you a couple of times. I haven't seen much of you. You're like that groundhog. You come out just occasionally. You come out, see your shadow, and go back into the shack. Yeah, I was up pretty late last night. I went up and watched some of Dave's stuff, and I couldn't get on. I wanted to. Well, you can't get on with him, but I wanted to do a little bit more with my signal. When my TV went out, I knew it was about time to sign off. So I was hoping we'd have a signal today, and we do. But I'm not going to whine about it a lot because, as you know, sometime this spring, maybe early summer, we're going to have fiber optics. And I am truly looking forward to it. What I like about this time of the year is seeing people dragging their bikes out and getting them ready for going for a ride. Now, answer me this, Motobomb. Did you make contact with American Outlaw? Did you ever find out his name? I looked through and I couldn't find his name either. He had sent it to me because we communicated back and forth on personal messages for a little while because he was one that was telling me about OSB or OBS or whatever, that other network that I tried for a while. Yeah, I watched when I was riding along, I could see the fiber optics lines, and they have a thing called a drop. Every place where there's a drop, the cable is coiled up, and they've already calculated the longest distance to the end of that street, and they'll have those coils of wire up on the main line up there. And I counted all those drops, and see over in that area there, they have a lot of underground stuff, and they was putting underground stuff over there. All of ours are going to be hung in the air. When you get up closer to the city, you'll find there's a lot more underground stuff. If I run across his name, did you ask 2-4? 2-4, do you remember the American Outlaw's name? Moto needs it for something he needs to do. I went through my emails and messages, and I couldn't come up with it. Yeah, you see, him and I had another thing in common. He was combat engineering, and so was I. And when he was stationed at Fort Lewis, that's what he did. He was a combat engineer. I was part of the Third Army as combat engineer, and I really loved all the equipment I could drive. I liked all that stuff. Man, you talking about a good lunch today? I went in and made hamburgers, and oh, they were so good. I put habanero cheese in the hamburger mix. I took and broke it up in little pieces and mixed it all good. Habanero cheese. That cheese we got up there at the Amish store there, and that habanero cheese, little chunks of that habanero cheese was so good inside that hamburger. I made me a big hamburger. He had some issues, a lot of issues there too. Um, you remember he was a wounded American veteran, and some of his issues were still hanging on to him. Let me tell you about a wellness check. And I'm not saying has nothing to do with your situation, but on the ham radio, we have a community on the ham radio, just like you have here. All you guys has got your pages. You have followers and people that love to be with you and like to be a part of your operation. Well, on the ham radio, we have, talking on the radio, we usually have and the HF band, people within 600 miles of our house that we know, that we meet, we go to these jamborees, we go to all these different conventions, and we get to meet these operators. Well, anyhow, we had this fellow up in North Carolina. He'd been with us for years. He was an older guy, and he just didn't show up one day. And we have a fellow that represents us. His job is to contact in the wellness department to find out if you're all right. It's his job. He's, if you look in the roster, you'll see he's the guy that lets you know who has passed on. We call it, in the ham radio world, it's called a silent key, because in the ham world, Morse code, and the thing that you send Morse code is called a key. And when you die, you become a silent key. You no longer can send your dits and dahs, or in the old days, dots and dashes. But you no longer can do it, so you become a silent key. And his job is to put this in the, we have an organization that's been around since the beginning of ham radio. It's called QRZ. QRZ. And in QRZ, they post when you become a silent key in QRZ. So this fellow, Jim, his job is to contact QRZ, let you know that this fellow is a silent key. So when the alarm was sent out, if the fellow up in North Carolina did not show up, and he was an elderly gentleman, hey, brown chicken. So what he does, he gets on the phone and he calls the Concord, North Carolina Police Department. We have a gentleman that they described him to a T, and where he was located and what his FCC registration address was. And they sent the law out to go out and find out why he wasn't on the air. And he just took it one step further, called the law in that town to find out. Well, the thing is, we find out later that the gentleman that was on the radio was also making moonshine in North Carolina. And so when the law arrived, it was right in the middle of an operation, and they was all arrested. A big ring was broken. God Almighty, would that caused some hard feelings. So my message to you, Moto, is don't take it that one step further and call the law and have them check on American Outlaw in Bismarck, North Dakota, because not to say that he would be doing anything, but he may be just off the air because he's choosing to be so, to do so. Not off the air, but off the network. 5 degrees. Oh man, brown chicken, you ain't getting no breaks. That was my story about a wellness check. And the story goes on and on and on, because every time we see Jim is the coordinator for the QRZ coordinator. And we always bring it up, like, have you turned anybody in lately, Jim? Sure. And we only wish the best for him. And I've instructed Angelique. She couldn't do this as a ham radio operator. She was not allowed to get on and broadcast because she wasn't a licensed ham operator. But I have instructed her. She knows how to do all this crap. And for her to get on here and come and do a solo, it'd be live with Angelique and broadcast to the world that Old Mack had done went belly up. Can ruffle the feathers. Uh, there was a song when I was a truck driver. It was a it was a rap song, a rap, and I tuned in it. And I was over in Atlanta, Georgia, and the first time I heard it was called Chicken Neck. Chicken Neck. Chicken, no, not chicken neck, chicken head, chicken head. It was a rap song about a chicken head, and it had a beat to it, and oh man, I laughed my head off. Uh-oh, my Wi-Fi going bad, buddy? Uh-oh. Y'all let me know. Can y'all still see me? Your Wi-Fi your Wi-Fi been better. Oh, and with a question mark. If y'all can see me, which I can see me on the screen, but of course my camera is putting it on the screen, so I wouldn't know if I'm actually sending a signal out or not. But it shows I still have internet. Okay. I think he was asking the question. No, mine is pitiful. I changed the cables around, and you have you have four bands of Wi-Fi coming off the tower, off the T-Mobile. There's four distinct bands, and they'll transmit on all four of those bands, and it's to extend the service. If any one of those two bands drop out, you still have the other two bands that will continue on. Unfortunately, my antenna bay out there only has two input lines, only two input lines coming in, and I've got four ports on the back. It needs an antenna for each of the ports. If you're going to run an external antenna, you want to make sure you have all four ports filled up so you can receive all four bands. That way you don't get any dropouts. And there's also, they have a thing, this is put a little bug in the ear. Like when you see a company advertise like AT&T, Verizon, or stuff like that, it says no throttling, no throttling, and no dropouts. Well, here's what they do. They don't throttle back because they've made a promise be no throttling, but they reduce the power on two bands for so many hours, and then increase the power on those two bands, but reduce it on the other two for so many hours. So you've got to always constantly, the system is running the most efficient for them to make the most amount of money they can make on the maximum amount of customers they can have. And that's just the way they got them doing it. So they can manipulate those poor bands to give some people a whole lot of service, and others get cut off without having to throttle back. There's FCC rules and regulations that regulates that. That's some crap that most people have no interest in. I got I get a magazine twice a month, and I was in aerospace right here, aerospace. That little symbol you see is the Boeing Aircraft Company. And this is the year-end wrap-up, how the year went for the employees and stuff like that. And yeah, they had a pretty good year. You know, they had a major strike and got it settled and got a really good contract out of the deal. It's going to make my retirement just so good. Hey, Ray Moto Life. We got Old Mack here on a Tuesday, just talking about internets and things of that nature. None of mine ever amounts to anything. I don't have an agenda. I don't have any I don't have any causes, or mine is just where if you want to come and complain about something, this would be the place to do it. Um, I got to say, yesterday's ride was really good. But we're going to do another one. I think Saturday, I'm going to go for a ride Saturday. Oh man, my day is really good. I got up this morning and I said, it's going to be a good day. Talked to my son the other day and up in Seattle. His hand is healed up. He had all where he cut his hand open. His hand is healing up. And my grandson there, he's coming up on 4 years of age. Hard to believe. Yeah, I think we're at 70 now. We were at 69. Let me see. Oh my God, we're at 71 now. There it is. 71, and really yesterday was 75, 77 for a high. 71 now, and they say by 4 o'clock we're going to get warmer. Got to plug my phone in. Yeah. The only thing I hate about spring around here on the farm, I drove around and looked at the fences. Oh, I got so much fence work to have to be done. Got to do the fences. The one up here going up to the road, it's held up really good. My neighbor helps support that fence. I mean, he does his share on that side to keep the weeds off the fence. But back here in the back in the jungle, man, we got to go out there. I have privet bushes growing up through my fence. And up on the north end of the property up there, I got a lot of work to do up there. Yeah, 6 more weeks of winter. We used to have, when we were young, of course, we didn't have no TVs. They hadn't been invented yet. But, well, they had been invented, but we didn't have them. We didn't have any TV stations, nothing. I don't think we got our first TV station until into the 50s. And we didn't get our first TV until 57. But we had the almanac, Farmer's Almanac, and everything was controlled by the Farmer's Almanac. Killing the hogs, groundhog stew. Groundhog roasting on an open fire. Yeah, the calendar on the almanac really has a lot of historical value to it. When we were young, You actually studied your body from the almanac. You had what they call the signs of the zodiac, but you had signs in your body. When this muscle here would jump or jerk, it meant something. When you got a muscle moving in your chest, or a thigh muscle, or all those things, they had, you could go through the pages and find out when the signs, they call it, when the signs are in your muscles. What does it mean? What does the future hold with these signs? Like weather's going to be better, weather's going to be worse, good crops this spring, coffee time. Yeah, I know about. I've broken a lot of bones in my life. Of course, I broke my hand, and I broke my arm right here. Broke right here, right here. Broke that bone right there, and then I broke this hand right here in the middle. Oh, it took me 6 months for that hand to get well, because all the muscles around that bone work over and the tendons. Yeah, I broke this this hand here has been broken up pretty good, and then I've broken my toes and broken my femur twice. Broke my both the bones in my right leg when I think I was 80, or I was in my 80s when I broke my right leg. I do know about pain. I, I know about calcium buildup, and know about all that. If you guys are fixing to go in live, well, I can pull the plug on this little bitty operation here. I just put it on. I just had some internet, and I thought, while I had an internet, I'd just get on here, but I have no meaning or purpose to be on the air. So you guys, you got something going on? Well, go on and do it. You don't need my permission. Hey, Thomas Bailey. Yeah, I just got on to burn up some time. I pay for a premium service on YouTube, so I don't have any commercials. So I thought, well, the amount I pay each month, I might as well get on and use it and get a little time on the air. And of course, I pay a lot of money to have that box over there. That's expensive for out here. Everything's been going good. Yeah, we've had a we've had a real good year so far. Our year took a turn for the worse when we went to Washington. We went up there and stayed a month, and we were sick 2 weeks of that month. We were going to stay 2 months, but we found we couldn't stay there any longer. We had to come on home. Yeah, we got Theo and Colton. Theo is my dog, and Colton is Angelique's dog. And actually, Colton is our dog. We're co-owners of Colton. And my little old Theo, he recovered from his surgery, And he gets out and walks briskly with me. We go out there. He can walk faster than me now. And in dog years, he's older than I am. You know, he's getting a little hard of hearing. But all I got to do is ring my keys. If I pick my keys up over here, boys, oh man, he is ready. He is ready to go. He's over in his bed asleep. He likes riding better than anything in the world. The little tongue will be hanging out. When I'm on a bike, people will come riding up behind me, and he'll raise his head up and look out there, you know, and they go start taking pictures. Hey, Sick, and I'm going to tell you, Sick, I appreciate you sharing my little ride in the sun yesterday. I saw where you shared my video, and I want to let you know I appreciated that, and I was going to do it yesterday, but I never got back around to doing it. The other dog's name is Colton, like a little small horse, Colt. Colton, T-O-N, C-O-L-T-O-N, Colton. His master for 14 years, for 12 years, his master was named Cole. Last name was Cole. So they named the dog Colton, C-O-L-T-O-N. He chose that name, and we kept his name. Yeah, Colton he's the little white dog. Yeah, little Theo, he cost us, when we got back from Washington, we had to take him to the hospital. He had to have emergency surgery, and that was spendy, but he was worth it. I mean, I'm not complaining about how much it costs, but the fact remains is I bought cars cheaper than what I paid for my dog. But they know we love them. Well, I'm glad to see we got 7 people in here on a Tuesday afternoon, 1:50 in the afternoon Central Standard Time. My voice is a little bit off today. I had a little bit of a coffee croup like during the night. I woke up coughing this morning. I got me some cough drops over there. Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed the cough, and more people are coughing. I bought some. I'm not suggesting anybody buy the same or nothing like that. I'm not promoting or advertising, but if you have a little, oh man, in fact, them are really good. If you have a little phlegmy kind of cough. Oh yeah, but I have a none. And you guys have an agenda. You've got people that count on y'all to be there to do your things that you're going to do. I'm just like, when you shoot a cannon off, you got to have what's called fodder. The ball is really important. That'd be like you, Moto. And the powder is also really powerful. And that'd be Raymoto. Raymoto would be the powder. And on that stuff there, the wadding, the packing. And then I don't know how you explain Salty Badger. He plays a role somewhere in this cannon shot. Oh, Salty Badger would be the barrel of the cannon. I'm just a fodder. Hey, Salty. Yeah, the wad, it's fodder, or the wad. But old cannoneers used to refer to it as cannon fodder. That would be what blows out with the ball. You see it shooting out there. It don't mean much. It doesn't have much of an impact, but it's really important for the rest of the shot to stay together. Oh, I was comparing to my little channel here, Salty, as this whole live thing that we have amongst all of our groups here is like a big cannon, and each one of you guys' pages play a part in this cannon. Like Moto can be the cannonball, you're the barrel, Ray Moto is the powder, and I'm the fodder. The stuff, the packing, the wad, is still part of the shot. Yeah, blowing a wad. I get you there, Moto. I'm a little slow, but I catch on to stuff. Oh, Thomas Bailey is the ramrod. Thomas Bailey is, and guess what? 2-4 sitting up there. He's the wick. The wick. You have to light it. First of all, you light 2-4, and he comes down the barrel, which is Salty, and he touches off the powder, which is Ryumoto. And when he does, all this energy is built up and it's got to go somewhere. My job as the what, and I'm there to hold the shot and everything together. And then there's the cannonball. That'd be Moto right there. Moto Bomb, Virginia. We have liftoff. Yeah, Thomas Bailey's ramrod. Yeah. Oh, we got to see. We got other characters, and remember, does any of you guys in cannoneering know what the brass monkey is? Does anybody? I know. I'm betting you before anybody can say anything, Salty Badger will know what the brass monkey is. Sick bastard. All right, let me hear you, Sick. What is the brass monkey? Come on, folks. Tell me what the brass monkey is in cannoneering. You can have them on ships. You can have them on ships, and you can have them in. Oh, that's it right there. The brass monkey is a cannonball holder. The old saying, well, it was so damn cold last night. How cold was it, sick bastard? Well, it was cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. See, it has a story to it. Beastie ball. You boys got it. I mean, y'all are just right there. There you go. You see, now, not only did Sick know the answer, but he understood why they used the brass monkey to hold the balls because of the coefficient expansion. Coefficient expansion is the difference between the expansion of the ball versus that of the holder. And if you had it wrong, if it swelled up, it would make all the balls start falling off the rack. Everything, the pyramid of balls would just come tumbling down. Copper would be too soft. Brass has got to be firm enough. Coefficient of expansion, that would be the Sickett. Boy, he's right on it. So next time you hear that saying, why hell, it was so cold last night, it was cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. Well, that ain't saying nothing bad. That's truly, it had to be really cold for that to happen. I used to do a lot of, I used to do these reenactment, Civil War reenactment videos. I did a lot of videos from all the way up in the north, all the way down here in the deep south. I did a lot of the videos, and a lot of the cannoneers, they go from one to the other. And when I met up with the right cannoneers, they had always let me stand with the gun crew, and I could get the most explosive, the best explosions, and get the biggest bang for the buck. If you look at the ramrod that you talk about, it's got a thing on both ends. One of them is used for ramming the ball in, of course. The other side is for cleaning the barrel, and you dip that in a bucket of water and you run that in the barrel to put out any residual sparks in the black powder. Because some of the fodder would still be on fire down in the barrel. Oh, of course, Salty, you are so correct right there. But what happened there is these new people that came in the 19th century there, they in the early 20th century and now the 21st century, they didn't have no idea how all this stuff works. So we had to gather a lot of people to show as a reenactment. I showed them how it was and really the way it was back in the day. I go way back. I was there. You remember that time when Jonah swallowed the whale? I was there. Woo, look at my old clock is right on. It is. Woo, it's right on. uh, oh man, that is so good. Moto was the pooper scooper for Noah, shoveling down there. Oh, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. I had some really good fish down at Landry's in Florida. I saw Thomas's thing about the blackened sea bass down there at Landry's. Oh my God. And you're right there at Pensacola, you see the beach, and off at Landry's there. I used to love to go down there and eat. They had some of the best fish. I'm a fish eater. I used to have a friend, he called them swimmers. He said him and his wife's going to go have some swimmers. It means he was going to eat him some fish. Well, I went in and looked on my stats. I've been doing this for here on YouTube ever since the company was a company. I think some of the earlier videos I put in here was like 2009, about where Motorbomb Virginia. He goes back in that period of time, but it took me years to get enough hours. You know, you need like 3,000 hours. And when we started this thing a year or so ago, doing the live, because I had no way of doing live for at least a year ago. I guess it's been a year, because I didn't have any internet that would support live feed. And now I saw this morning I'm at 2,634, I believe it is, 2,634 hours. And so I'm going to work this year to try to get that extra 300 and something hours up to get. And a long time ago, when we first started doing this, we had what's called, we had where they put commercials on us, and they paid us for the commercials, and then they went to this monetary thing that they're doing now, YouTube, and then they raised the standards where I don't even qualify, and I don't have any content that would qualify for steady viewing or whatever. But yeah, they changed the rules and everything. So I'm getting back, and originally they said if once you get all that stuff to become monetized, you'd get a little certificate to put on the wall. And on that wall there, I got my Harley and my honorable discharge. I'd like to have my little YouTube thing up there on the wall. People, when they come and take my stiff ass body out of here, they go, "What the hell's that thing right there?" I go, "God only knows." But it means something to me. Well, if you look at some of the, Tom Bailey, if you look at some of the stats and statistics at the mercury content in fish, if you was to sit down and eat 55 pounds of fish a week, 55 pounds of tuna per week, you would raise your threshold of mercury in your body by the most minute level. Now, it's truly, you may already have a high concentration of mercury due to other things, but you'd have to eat 55 pounds of tuna per week. Now, I can do 2 cans of tuna a year, and that's pretty well adequate for me on tuna. So I really don't put a lot of faith in a lot of these things that they put out there, like dire warning. Hell, first of all, they told us we was going to die from eating eggs. Now the eggs are good for you. Then they told us coffee was going to make you have a nervous breakdown. But now they're saying coffee is good for you. Bacon is beyond a shadow of a doubt the most harmful thing you could put in your body. But now they're saying bacon is good for you. But they all agree that eating Tide Pods still is a negative thing to do. You shouldn't do that unless it's a real serious double dog dare. And then you don't take no more than 2 of those, and don't chew them, whatever you do. I can't believe a human being would eat a Tide Pod. That's goddamn crazy. And you don't want to dare anybody now in these challenges because they'll do it. I dare you to set yourself on fire and make a video of it. Well, I can do it. Yeah, I'm not saying go out and, indulge in these things, and it's good that we have warnings on stuff, but a lot of people carry the warnings way too far. It's good to, and one should heed warnings because your body can only handle a certain amount of toxicity, and you can build the toxicity up, and you build it up in all different levels, and pretty soon your body reaches that threshold, and then the liver begins to act up. And if you kill the liver, chances are you're going to die. If you're poor like me. Now, if you're well heeled and got money, you can get in on that list and get a liver transfer, and then you might live. Yeah, there's so many of them crazy challenges. Of course, I got videos of me eating hot pepper. Now, to me, that ain't a challenge because if you know how to suppress pain to where you can actually deal with it, where you don't have to worry about it, as a welder, I did weld for the Boeing Aircraft Company for a number of years as a welder. They checked us all the time for metal concentrations in our body because we had a real world-class medical facilities there at the Boeing Company where they checked us for all these contaminants. I got a situation in 1979. I got involved in a situation where it took 20% of my lung capacity away. I spent 22 years with the Strategic Air Command Group, and we started down at the bottom level where we built the silos, and I finished up in the electrical end at the finish of the thing. Hey, Chasing Ghost. But we used to have a term called to irradiate the site. They would take a helicopter and they would hook it up to 9,600 volts commercial power. They had this big thing and they plugged it in. They had a box on the skid. They plugged it in and he would go up above the silo, about 75 feet above the silo. And he'd hover over there, and under the bottom, he had this cone-shaped thing, and he had isotopes in the probe. When they turned the power on, it took an X-ray down in the silo, and down in there, we had placed all this film stock on all the areas, all the way to the bottom of the deep hole, 180 feet down. We put these plates of film stock, and when he would shoot it, it would shoot that radiation down through there, and it would look for cracks, wells, undercuts, all the X-ray stuff, all done in a single shot. Massive amount of energy. In fact, if you had a fill effect meter, an FET, fill effect, not FET, but fill effect meter. If you had a fill effect meter and you went out 200 feet away from the silo, it would pick out the meter on radiation. And they did this for a number of years. And then when we got up to the very end of the project, come to find out, of the 600 people that was been involved with the project for a number of years, 300 was dead. And then all of a sudden, they began to check people for radiation exposure. We had to wear the thing on us, the film stock on our chest, and we had too many Rimpkins or rims. We exceeded double over the amount a human should be able to absorb. So I ended up in the hospital, and it burnt 20% of my lungs out. No, I didn't get a check. I worked for the company. I stayed another 15 years after that. Uh, yeah, another 15 years. And I'm still alive today. uh, Josie Wells in Wisconsin. I know you've got some cold weather up there. Yeah, farm living. It has some really positive things there, Ray Moto, as far as longevity. You look at it historically. A lot of the old farmers lived a long time. 80 degrees down in Florida. Well, we're at 70. I was at 71 a while ago. I think we're going to top out about. I think we're going to top out about at 75. Now we're still at 71, so it's still holding at 71. Well, Josie Wells, what kind of winter did you have? I saw you a couple of times during the winter, not as much as I like to, but I did see you. Oh, by the way, Josie Wells, could you do you know anything about American Outlaw? What has happened to him lately? You know, he changed his name, but have you run across him on any of his pages he's operating out of American Outlaw? Okay. Well, Motorbomb is doing a wellness check on him, and he's been running into a lot of problems finding anything out about him because he was pretty active. You remember he was building a motorcycle and he had some health issues, and and the report looked pretty grim a couple of times. Yeah. Oh no, he was really happy he found us. He needed us. Remoto. He was stationed at Fort Lewis, and I used to work out of Fort Lewis. Um, and so we had a kind of a connection there, and he was really happy because he run across Motorbomb Virginia and his crew. And he run across Ray Gregory and people that know stuff about motorcycles. Last time I remember a video he put out, he had discovered where the motor mount was, you know, where the bolts went through, attached was a part of the ears that came off the motor. The housing of the motor was broken. Um, yeah, so he was really a little bit distraught over the broken motor. You know, the motor. I mean, he's going to have to take it apart, degrease it, and have the block welded up. You know, from inside. It can be done if you got a good degreaser. Nobody's going to tell you that they can weld that aluminum block up from the outside. It ain't going to be done because aluminum is porous and it'll soak up oil. If you don't degrease it and prep it correctly, it will never hold up. Not as a locating point for like a motor mount. And he was facing that of having to maybe get a different block. Well, I appreciate you guys looking after old Mac. My little grandson, every time he goes and say goodbye, he go, "Bye, old Mac." I love it. I love it. He's got me for a granddaddy, and he's got a Russian granddaddy. I'm sure he probably speaks fluent Russian. Hello, everyone. Yes, you have been missing for quite a while there, Connie. And I got a report that Pam is out of the hospital and she's feeling better. Well, you got really good warm weather down there in Port Richey today. It's beautiful, almost like a summer day down there. And it's only going to get better. Well, you see, your sister, Connie, your sister, and my sister is in snow in Seattle today. Everybody seems to be having the same feeling that we do about this weather. Is coming up here. Everybody's excited about it. We just come out of the winter, and well, we still got a lot of winter to go yet. But my God, we got things starting to show up out here in the yard in the flower beds. Here this month, we'll start getting like the daffodils will start pushing through pretty soon. Oh, tell us before you go on what kind of new what kind of new toy are you picking up there? Oh, let me guess what it is. I'm thinking a Road King. Oh, let me make another guess. 1911. Oh man, that's it. I've got a lot of them things. I mean, not a lot of them. I mean, say that different types. But I always let me tell you my little story. I ended up going to Fort Jackson, and when we was doing pistol, we had to go out there and qualify on the 45 caliber. And so when we was coming up through there, we had a long line. Everybody got your weapon. Everybody lined up to get your weapon. And when you get up there, he slaps this gun in your hand. He takes and pops it in your hand. And what you do, you've got 5 rounds that you got to put into the target. And you got 2 barrels, a barrel to the left and a barrel to the right. And when you shoot, and if he tells you to throw your gun in the barrel, you got two rows coming down through. So people throwing their guns in the barrel. If he tells you to throw the gun in the barrel, that's bad news. That means you got to be working this weekend, picking up brass and stuff and doing all kinds of cleaning up because you didn't qualify. And if he lets you carry your weapon on up to the next station, then they show you how to break it down, disassemble it, and do all that crap, you know. But so I was taught how to shoot by my own relatives that came home from World War II. And so when I stepped up there, they handed me a gun that rattled. When they handed it to me, it literally rattled. It had been shot a million times, and it rattled. If you turned the gun, when the weapon was turned left and right, it clicked and rattled, and the safety here, all that stuff was just wore out. I went, oh hell! I put up there, I did my thing, and he just hit me in the back and pushed me on. I don't have to throw my gun in the barrel. Oh man! And so all my life I thought about getting me a 1911. I finally got one many years ago, a brand new one. I got a brand new one, and I made a video of that 1911, me shooting it out here. Have a blessed day, Thomas Bailey. That was my 1911 story, but I've had different brands, and I've had some, and they're all shoot good. I had a Rock Island, a 1911 Rock Island. The coat, of course, it has a lot to do with the name, but you'd be sadly mistaken if you believe you're going to get it out of the box and you're going to be as good as John Wayne with that. Hey, Progzilla. I hope everything is good in Progzilla's world. Spring full armory yet? You're getting the newest version. Oh, okay. And I'm going to tell you, it's a good choice. First of all, when you got it in your hand, it feels good in your hand. It feels right in your hand, and I like mine. And every one I've had, I liked. I even had a high, high point, not high standard, high point. I had a high point, 1911 high point. Best damn shooting gun. I went down. I had a friend. Oh, that's good, Kenny. I'm happy for you. I had a friend that was retired from the Army, and I happened to have the turret gun in I had a Mustang, and it was laying there on the dash, and he said, hey, what is that you got there? And I said, oh, it's an old high point 45, 1911. He said, does the damn thing shoot? I said, oh, hell yeah, it shoots good. So he set up a few targets over there, and I handed him the gun, and he shot them. 5 targets, 5 shots. I go, he's a good shooter now. But he took my gun, sighted in the way I shoot, and he pop, pop, pop. He was so impressed. He said, you want to sell it? Not especially. He said, well, would you want to trade it for something? I said, well, what you got? He said, how about a new Harley Davidson helmet? he had a lot of he had several different Harleys. I traded that turd gun for a Harley helmet. High point turd gun because it was brown. Good shooting gun. I always usually have a gun or two with me in the car because somebody always like to chump out some, put some cash out there and buy a gun. And I bought a gun from a guy, and 15 minutes after I bought it from him, I done sold it for a $200 profit. In just 15 minutes, I bought it from this guy, and I go on up the road, and 15 minutes later, I already done sold it because it was a good one. I never got to shoot it. Good looking thing. Yeah, I've had all the high dollar 45s, waste of money. It's only when you like to pull your kimber out, and you keep it in a safe, and you never put it out on the wall. You don't leave it laying on the desk. You have to keep it locked up, because if you dare go out and shoot the thing, it's already devalued at $150 just as you're pulling the trigger on it. Not that they're a bad gun. The fact remains that this got the status of it's unwarranted status as far as I'm concerned. Give me an old Springfield and I'll show you how to shoot it. Take care, buddy. Yeah, that's a good feeling, kind of when the birds are singing. We have so many birds. I've got right now. I can see all the red birds, the cardinals out there on the railing, and I've got dog food on the rail, and they'll eat every speck of that dog food off that rail. It's actually not dog food; it's cat food, smaller particles. It's that like mal mix or something like that. And buddy, they're out there just flying today, feeling good about themselves. Mythical Rider, howdy, howdy. You're never too late. Good to see you. Right now, I have a craving for a cold beer, but I don't have one here. If I had a cold beer, I might even spend some more time with you. I bet you I could call her up and get a call. Oh, I'll do that. Let's just, let's call her up there and see if I can get a beer on tap here. Come on. Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see if she's going to answer.
Hello?
You know, when I'm really grumpy, what does it take to make me less grumpy?
Beer?